What is leftism? What is wokeism? You've once said that the left is a religious cult. I'm sympathetic to that. It sometimes seems to me that CNN is to wokeism what EWTN is to Catholicism. But what does the left mean?
That's obviously a good question. Sometimes it seems even more complicated to answer a question of what is conservatism or what is the right. I think with the left, there's from what I would say, the simplest answer is that the leftism is the worship of the self. It's the elevation of the self. That's the only coherent kind of thread that I think connects all of what we call leftism and wokeism and everything. And there are a lot of other people talk about whether they're socialist, they're this and that, and I think those labels play into it sometimes. But at bottom, at the root of all of this, it is a worship of the self, and it is like a religious worship because they believe that the self, sort of the ego, transcends all boundaries and should submit to no control at all, including their own biological identity. They should be able to rewrite by force of their own will, right? And now you might point out that, well, the worship of the self, that's also the definition of Satanism, and to which I would respond, I mean, yes, exactly. So maybe that's just an easier way of putting it.
Yeah, it is true. I mean, they have their own creed that kind of gets placarded out the front of their houses. They have their little tokens that symbolize they're part of the group, just like I as a Catholic do. You know, I wear a miraculous medal around my neck. I go to Holy Mass and things like this. And I suppose having your pronouns displayed in your Instagram profile or something like that is sort of like that. And you also have these excommunications. I mean, the Catholic Church is far more merciful to those who've been excommunicated, it seems to me, than the woke mob when they cancel you.
Yeah, I would agree. And my only hesitation, although I say that it's a religious cult, and it is, sometimes I worry a little bit about putting it that way because when you're using religious as a pejorative, or it sounds like you're using it as a pejorative, that's my only hesitation, because it's not like there's anything wrong in and of itself, obviously, with being religious. There are plenty of religions, though, that are wrong, and the religion of leftism is the wrongest of them all. But I think calling it a religious cult is it's important because it helps us to understand what it is exactly we're dealing with here. And it also can be kind of illuminating, because when you hear some of the claims that are made, especially about something like gender, and you hear about, women trapped in men's bodies and all these kinds of things, it just doesn't make any sense using any framework. But at least when you understand that they're really grasping for something sort of spiritual when they say that, it at least helps you understand a little bit like what they're even trying to say.
There's a line in one of the documents of the Second Vatican Council that says, when God is forgotten, the creature itself becomes unintelligible. And that sort of seems to me to be the root of a lot of this. If you start denying objective reality and then imposing the subjective upon objective reality, that's what a lot of this seems like to me.
Yeah, I think that's true. And I think also that this obsession with labels that people have now, where they identify, it's not just, I identify as gay or I identify as trans, especially if you go to TikTok and you see what the kind of Gen Z and the younger generations, how this is filtering through for them. It's like they've got, no, I'm trans, genderqueer, I'm also non-binary and demisexual and pansexual and all these different labels. And it kind of is, in a way, you can kind of see them in real time trying to make themselves coherent, trying to make sense of their own, of themselves. But in the process, they just confuse themselves even more, it seems like.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe and leave a comment below letting us know what you thought about the video.